My name is John Smith, 36, a single man. I'm an important member of a subcontractor named Kawa Construction, handling equipment and foundational work. Though our company is small with only 20 people, we're engaged in rewarding jobs. My specialty is HVAC installations, but lately, I've been getting the hang of reading blueprints too. Recently, we were commissioned for the construction of a mid-sized building, and all of us went to Blackstone Company for introductions. As we were guided to the conference room, it was apparent that the other party looked down on us.
You guys should remember that as subcontractors, you're in a position to be given work by us. My orders are absolute as the director. No talking back.
Amidst the murmuring of my colleagues, a chubby man holding a business card with "manager" written on it approached my boss aggressively.
Quite noisy here, isn't it? What about your employee training? Said the manager with a stern look. Your company has a good reputation, but if you refuse work from us, it might just topple your company.
I understand. I'll make sure to instruct my subordinates properly.
My boss bowed his head and pleaded. Seeing us silent, the director and manager of Blackstone Company laughed and made an unbelievable proposal.
So, how about we settle on 2/3 of the agreed payment?
What did you say?
What? Talking back.
That's not what was originally agreed upon.
Quiet. You subcontractors just need to listen to us. But, alright, if you can finish the construction 2 weeks earlier than planned, we might pay you the full amount.
1 week is the limit. Plus, if the building has defects due to rushing, wouldn't it be Blackstone, the main contractor, whose reputation suffers?
Fair point. I'll cut you some slack and move up the deadline by 1 week, out of my generosity.
Although infuriated by the unreasonable demands from the main contractor, it was clear that everyone, especially our boss, was enduring it, so I managed to swallow my anger. Blackstone is a major construction firm with significant influence, based in a metropolitan area. Upsetting them could spell doom for a small subcontractor like us. The following day after the meeting, as we, a total of 20 people, sat down in Blackstone's large conference room for a briefing, the director soon began to speak. As we were handed documents and listened to the schedule and plan overview, I noticed a major flaw in the materials budget and overall design of the building. I have something important to tell the director.
What? No speaking was allowed.
But, this concerns a critical issue related to the construction.
Silence. Such audacity from a subcontractor. Or are you talking back?
No, but this is, surely.
Surely what? There's no way employees of a major company like ours could be corrected by a small fry like you. If you speak out of turn again, you're fired.
Please listen. If this goes on, we won't be able to proceed with the construction.
Can't proceed. Oh, because of your lack of capability. If a big company like us spreads a bad word about you, you subcontractors will stop getting work. If you don't want to lose your job, you'll say yes to everything I say and silently do as told. Got it?
Then, I really won't say anything else, okay?
Yes, fine. A low-level employee from a small company daring to speak up to a director, know your place.
I went too far, and I deeply apologize.
That's right, as long as you understand. Mr. Smith, I don't dislike obedient subordinates. Seems like you dodged a bullet with the director's kindness.
While the director and manager laughed joyfully, I knew we had to do something about the current situation. I racked my brain for what I could do. A week into the construction, I went to check on the noisy site and saw the director and manager, who had come for an inspection, looking pale as they compared the design plans and materials budget.
Hey! The design of the foundation works for the land area is all wrong. Director. I just checked, and there are 4 extra zeros in the materials order. If we don't correct this, we'll end up with a massive surplus of materials. What?
As the director and manager panicked, noticing me lurking behind, they came at me full throttle.
You were about to say something to us a week ago, weren't you? Don't tell me you knew and kept quiet.
It was you who told us to shut up and refused to listen, wasn't it? Weren't you the ones claiming that a subcontractor like us wouldn't catch you making such a foolish mistake?
We never thought the mistake was this serious. Why didn't you forcefully communicate it at that time?
Rather, how did you fail to notice such a significant mistake until now? A design error means starting from scratch, and combined with the material ordering error, the necessary costs would amount to roughly $5 million, wouldn't they? Can a company that's trying to cut even the fees paid to our company afford to come up with such a huge sum?
Director, even for our company, an additional expense of $5 million is going to be tough. Cancel the wrongly ordered materials. Do it now. Ordered the director.
Afterwards, the director and manager were yelling at their subordinates while making calls all around. A few hours later, us workers were called in by the two with pale faces. Though sudden, we're halting this construction project. Disband immediately, they announced. With the sudden disbandment, employees who knew nothing were confused, and protests arose from all around. Amidst this, our boss stepped forward and declared,
Everyone, calm down. I will discuss the formalities with the other party and give further instructions.
Until you hear from me, workers should go home, he instructed. Without knowing if we would be paid, we couldn't continue working. We had no choice but to go home without being able to sort out our feelings. Because of this incident, Blackstone Company, which had incurred a huge deficit, seemed to have their contracts terminated by the clients. The construction itself was taken over by another company called SKR Company, which is as big as or even bigger than Blackstone Company. Though the prime contractor changed, we were allowed to continue working on the project. We met with the president of SKR Company.
It must have been tough with Blackstone Company. I've heard good things about your company's meticulous work. I'm glad we can work together,
he said. He was a person of much greater character than the director and manager of Blackstone Company, treating us as equals without looking down on us because we're a subcontractor. On the other hand, Blackstone Company still has an obligation to pay us for the work done, even though the construction was halted. But they are claiming that the contract was voided because we didn't point out their mistake. And they are refusing to pay for the compensation. I was going to speak up, but was told by the head office not to say anything. As I said before, a professional should respond flexibly to the situation.
With all due respect, Mr. Smith is right. At least, we couldn't strongly voice our opinions from our company to yours.
What? If you had found the mistake and spoken up, our company wouldn't have ended up like this.
Could we at least be paid for the work done, if not the full amount?
This is pointless. Bringing an employee who found the mistake but didn't speak up and now asking for payment. Waste of time. We'll discuss this further internally. You, subcontractors, just wait quietly.
Even after our boss contacted Blackstone Corporation, the only response was to wait for the payment, with no prospect of it being transferred. Knowing our company's tough financial situation, SKR company trusted our boss and decided to pay part of the success fee in advance. I was relieved that I could finally work on a legitimate job, but 2 days before the scheduled construction, I received a call from the president of SKR company with an urgent tone. "Mr. Smith, sorry for the sudden contact, but I need you to come to our company's president's office immediately." "President, what's the matter?"
The former director from Blackstone Company has raised questions about your responsibility. It's hard to make a judgment without you here, so I called you, Mr. Smith.
"Understood. I'll be right there," I replied and headed out immediately. Arriving at SKR Company, I entered the president's office with our boss who was waiting for me in front of the building, and there, the director and manager of Blackstone Company were smirking.
President, as I advised as the predecessor, this employee Mr. Smith failed to report a critical mistake, obstructing our responsibility fulfillment. Now, our company is burdened with a large debt and can barely function. It's all his fault.
"Wait, please. There's a reason for this."
Exactly, President. In this construction project, he's been nothing but a hindrance. You should order him to step back from the work immediately.
"I never intended to interfere with the construction."
After all that high and mighty attitude, admit what you've done.
Both of you, please calm down.
"I simply did my best to ensure we could complete our assigned tasks without issue. Wasn't it you two who refused to listen when I tried to report a mistake?"
Regardless of your attempt to communicate, if it wasn't received, it holds no meaning.
"It's because you two didn't allow me to speak."
Even if you claim you did your best, the truth is you only noticed a numerical mistake and did nothing about it, right? That's negligence of duty.
If you're talking about negligence, doesn't the same apply to you for abandoning the discussion about our compensation?
As I've said before, the project was halted due to your fault, and with our significant losses, we cannot make the payment.
A few minutes later, after hearing from me and the director of Blackstone Company, the president of SKR pondered for a while and then turned to everyone present and said,
"I've listened to everyone's story.
Thank you. Has this helped you understand what kind of person Mr. Smith is?
I will contact you tomorrow again, Mr. Smith. I appreciate you responding to the sudden call."
"Okay. I will excuse myself now."
Excuse us.
Mr. Smith, you've had a hard time.
As we were leaving the company building, the smug duo from Blackstone Company blocked our path.
So much for, you've had a hard time. This is the end for you. You're unscathed even though we've suffered huge losses because of you. I won't forgive that.
Watching their retreating backs, I felt a sense of despair, wondering if I would indeed be removed from this project. 2 days after being called by the president, I was back at the construction site as usual. During lunch break, I stopped my work to possibly head to the convenience store with a coworker. As we passed through the construction site's fence, the disheveled duo from Blackstone Company approached me with shocked expressions.
Mr. Smith, why are you still working here?
What happened? And why are you dressed like that?"
We told President of SKR all about how the construction was halted because of you.
"Well, I'm just following his decision."
No way. You must have made some deal behind our backs, didn't you?
"Sorry, go on ahead without me." I told my co-workers to go ahead and have lunch first as I pondered how to deal with the two from Blackstone Company. Just then, President of SKR and my boss, who had come for inspection, walked over and addressed the director and manager from Blackstone Company.
My, what do we have here? Director and manager from Blackstone Company, what brings you here?
What's happening? Why is Mr. Smith here? Oh. President SKR, too. Quite the coincidence. Are you here for an inspection?
Yes, we saw you talking to Mr. Smith and wondered what was going on. Anything happen?
Yes. They were just asking why I'm still here.
Just apologizing for their misunderstanding.
Thank you for your intriguing opinion on Mr. Smith the other day.
President of SKR Corporation, what's the situation now?
Thanks to you, we've reevaluated and recognized the high competence of the company run by Mr. Smith and his superiors.
Mr. Smith's company. High competence.
Yes, it seems the character of Mr. Smith described by you two differs significantly from the actual himself.
And what would that be?
You claimed Mr. Smith was trying to sabotage the work, but in reality, he was the most earnest about his job. Take a look at this blueprint. This is an adjustment Mr. Smith made to the original design.
What? Mr. Smith did this.
Yes, but it wasn't just my effort.
He collaborated with knowledgeable peers during the design process.
Is that so? I firmly responded to the skeptical gaze from the director of Blackstone Company.
It's the truth.
Not only did he identify structural issues perfectly, but he also added detailed notes and suggestions to enhance the strength. Our experts have checked, and it's fair to say it's a perfect revision. Because of this improved design, we were able to start work early despite the foundational redo. Truly, the dedication of Mr. Smith and the others to their work has impressed me.
Even if Mr. Smith did improve the design, what about the mistake in ordering materials?
Manager, that's because I wasn't allowed to speak up, so I did what I could.
Yet, despite noticing, you didn't report anything to us.
As Mr. Smith just said, he did everything possible on that front too. This is the proof.
My boss showed the two from Blackstone Company the notepad I always kept by the phone on my desk.
What's this?
It's the notepad I use for phone calls at my desk.
How is a notepad any proof?
He tried calling the other party several times, but it seems the period for cancellation had already passed. He came to me frustrated, saying, "How could the manager and director not notice such a critical mistake?" See, the real issue is how Blackstone Company could overlook such fatal mistakes in design and ordering in the construction industry.
That was, something the subordinates did on their own.
That's no excuse. I've heard about the way you two from Blackstone treat your subcontractors from Cowa Construction. It seems like Blackstone tends to ignore the voices of those in weaker positions.
We didn't ignore. Well, sometimes, we did listen occasionally.
If you had listened even occasionally, wouldn't this disaster have been avoided?
I'd love to know when you actually did listen to us.
When? Like when I had free time.
Is that the only time you listen to them?
No, it's just that, what subordinates say isn't worth listening to, you know.
What's not worth listening to is the arbitrary rules you've set up within your company.
Even President SKR became more forceful after hearing the director's disjointed excuses.
Far from hindering work, Mr. Smith was trying his best to ensure his team could complete their job properly, trying to inform you, the prime contractor, of this critical mistake. Right, Mr. Smith?
Yes, I initially discovered the mistake and tried to report it.
And yet, you decided his efforts were backtalk, forbidding him from speaking, and then tried to drag Mr. Smith down with your mistakes, spreading false accusations to me, the responsible party. That's nothing short of business obstruction and defamation against Mr. Smith. Unforgivable.
But But the director told me to do so. He ordered me. What? If you thought it was wrong, you should have said something at the time. You're responsible too.
Blaming others for your choices, and yet you're in charge of running a company?
Well, that's true, but I can't say for sure it was my mistake that caused it.
Are you still making excuses?
Thinking about people like you working in this industry, making life harder for those under you, why don't you take responsibility for your actions instead of standing around here?
The director and manager were sternly reprimanded by the president of SKR and became diminished.
By the way, I heard from an employee at Blackstone that you two were the ones who drafted the design. It was outdated by several decades. In my line of work, I've seen my fair share of designs, but I've never seen ones that didn't captivate me to that extent. In a way, you two have a talent.
I'm leaving. I'm leaving, too.
Their faces turned red with sarcasm from President SKR, and their earlier brashness disappeared. Without even glancing at me or my boss, they hurriedly ran off into the main street, disappearing from sight. It seems President SKR was initially skeptical of me, but my boss showed him the design and notes, persuasively arguing on my behalf, and I couldn't be more grateful. Unfortunately, the two from Blackstone were cowardly incompetent, representative of the worst kind of bosses. 2 weeks after my innocence was proven, as work finished and I, responsible for locking up the site, completed my rounds, I was walking home alone. Then, surprisingly, the director and manager from Blackstone ambushed me, suddenly breaking down in tears. Oh my! What's going on all of a sudden?
Mr. Smith, please. Can you talk to President SKR and ask if they can arrange about $3 million for us? You are our only hope. He is in favor of you.
What? What do you mean? $3 million? That's impossible.
Please.
Some things are just impossible. The amount you're asking for is not something that can be easily accommodated, you know.
I'm begging you, this is how it has to be. There's no other option but to ask you.
Stop, please. Why do you even need such a large amount of money? While I was surprised to see them starting to kneel, I asked why they needed $3 million. The director looked up at me with hopeful eyes.
Our company isn't bankrupt yet. If we can borrow the $3 million from SKR Corporation, a major and trusted firm, at the lowest possible interest rate, we can repay the debts we borrowed to balance the books and rehire our employees, restart everything. We are so sorry that we have been terrible to you.
What are you talking about? Apologizing now won't change anything.
But we've changed our minds, we won't look down on subcontractors anymore.
How can I believe that?
After this is over, we won't show our faces to you ever again. If there's anything you need for work, we'll make sure to offer favorable terms for any contract. We can even put it in writing.
So, you're prepared to go that far. And now you've come to me hoping to fix the whole situation.
Please, we need your help. Please.
Well, let's head to SKR Company now then. It'll be better if we go together.
Mr. Smith, you.
Just wait here. I'll call the president. I moved a little away from them to make a call. President of SKR. Hello, President SKR. It's me, Smith. I informed him we were heading to SKR office. He is well informed, let's go. We headed to SKR office together.
You're really a good guy. If the negotiation succeeds, we can revive our department.
You two really want to resurrect it no matter what, huh?
Of course. I treated you so wrong before, Mr. Smith. Thank you for helping us out.
I don't know how it will turn out, but good luck. They were excitedly moving forward, but as SKR Company's building came into view, their pace gradually slowed down.
Hey, there's a car stopped in front of the entrance. That car and license plate, could it be?
President, I've brought the two gentlemen. As I waved my hand, President SKR and another man around his 50s waiting in front of the company turned towards us. And he quickly approached.
Mr. Smith, thank you for calling. I didn't expect to find them so quickly.
Sorry, but I just remembered an urgent matter, so I'll excuse myself now.
Please wait, you two. We haven't even said hello yet. Saying that, I grabbed their hands to stop them leaving.
Do you guys understand the gravity of what you've done? Planning to run away without taking responsibility. It's an abuse of authority to dismiss employees without consulting me, the president. Let's go straighten this out first.
It's our president after all. Smith, were you planning to hand us over to our president from the start?
Despite being younger than the president, the portly director and manager were easily caught and made to sit formally in front of SKR Company.
Mr. Smith, I thought that you are a nice guy. You betrayed us.
Don't talk like you've been deceived. I was just carrying out a request from President SKR. It seems that the president of Blackstone Company and President SKR are friends.
What? So, they have known all along.
About a week ago, President SKR informed me about the current situation of Blackstone Company. The fact that you two have gone missing. I had agreed with President SKR to contact him immediately if you two ever approached me, ensuring they could be directly handed over to him. I thought that coming with you would ensure I could hand you over to the president.
We trusted you, Mr. Smith. Weren't you going to persuade President SKR for us?
It was your decision to interpret things to suit yourselves and follow me here, wasn't it?
That may be true, but you were supposed to make a request with us.
I only said I would accompany you to SKR Company. If you had tried to understand the other party's words and actions even a little, couldn't you have seen through this?
See. This is Mr. Smith's true nature. He easily deceives people, a bastard.
You're still going to claim that?
Presidents, please listen to us. With just $3 million, we can resurrect the branch of Blackstone Company that Mr. Smith ruined. So could you please lend us the funds?
Do you really think such a flimsy lie will work now? I've heard all about your past misdeeds from the employees of SKR Company and those you unjustly fired. Really, the lack of oversight on my subordinates is regrettable. I can't regret it enough. Of course, both the director and manager are fired.
Fired? But if we lose our jobs, how are we supposed to live? That's wrongful dismissal. We'll sue you, even if you are the president.
The sheer audacity of the two, blaming the president for their own misdeeds, infuriated the president of Blackstone Company, who glared at his subordinates.
How could it be unjust? Just the fact that you concealed the truth about the massive losses within the department without reporting it to me is a serious issue, and yet you.
It seems that the director and manager's misconduct was not limited to just this mistake. They treated mere expressions of opinion from their employees as violations of work orders, unjustly cutting their salaries or penalizing them without any real cause.
The difference in the reduced salaries was added to your own, wasn't it? The evidence is all lined up in accounting. Furthermore, the employees who were mentally harassed by your tyrannical attitudes will receive compensation from you too. The punishment won't just be termination. Be prepared.
Compensation, that's exaggerating, isn't it? Right, manager? We were just teaching those without common sense how to respect their superiors. If they were mentally stressed by that, it's because they were too weak. And yet, Mr. Smith, who did the same work, is still willing to work with us. You want to keep working with us, right?
Remembering how all the employees under them always looked so down, I felt a strong anger towards their attempts to evade responsibility. I'd refuse to work with you. It was obvious even to someone outside the company how terrible you two were.
Look, there's a witness right here. Clearly, the mental stress of the subordinates was due to your actions. With your lack of remorse, I'll make sure to report everything in details for future discussions. The punishment might get even heavier, but you brought this upon yourselves.
I understand. We are awfully sorry. Please go easy on us. I deeply apologize, too. Please go easy on us.
Those under you probably thought the same. Do you think saying the same things to them would get you forgiven? I wouldn't forgive you no matter how much you apologized. Silenced by their own guilt, the director and manager were taken away in the president of Blackstone Company's car.
President SKR and Mr. Smith, I'm truly sorry for the great inconvenience my subordinates have caused. I promise to let them take full responsibility and pay for the compensation based on the contract to Kawa Construction as soon as possible. Thank you both for your cooperation.
As we saw off the president of Blackstone Company, I felt a sense of liberation from the hassle with the director and manager, feeling so relieved. The following day, after handing over the director and manager to the president of Blackstone Company, my boss happily announced in front of everyone that the agreed amount had been successfully transferred. Afterwards, the branch of Blackstone Company where the director and manager used to work was closed down permanently, as I heard from President SKR. Recently, I spotted two familiar skinny men in tattered clothes. It turned out to be the worn-out director and manager. And our company managed to escape from financial difficulties, thanks to the work with SKR Company.